There's a lot of, when it comes to art, I mean, a lot of people are just fucked up mentally. I mean, Van Gogh ripped his ear off. Like, you know what I mean? When you go from a lifestyle of creating art every day and doing your thing, and then going to stopping all that and then just showing up to a place where no one cares that you're an artist, or people shit on you for being an artist.
Right.
And then, yeah, and then your one job now is just to do manual labor. You know what I mean? And that's annoying. There was a point in my life where I stopped making artwork. This is a consistent thing, I guess. I just kind of like, I don't know, like sometimes I feel like as an artist you need to live life and then come back to the medium. My friend Victor, he actually brought me back into it. I just saw his presence that he had online. So I got excited about it and I told him like, hey, we should collaborate. And it was like the first collaboration that I did, period. And so yeah, we met up, we bought some stuff with like the last bit of money we had because I wasn't working a good job then. And then we started doing this outside in the winter, actually in the cold. This one right here. Yeah, we kept layering paint to the point where it just looked like 15 different kinds of pieces every time we came back. So I tried to bring, each time I collaborated with him, I just tried to keep like a consistent thing going. Like I was like, I'm gonna draw eyes. Like I don't care where you draw, I'm gonna draw over it. I'm just gonna do eyes because he works really fast and I'm like a really slow artist. So yeah, it was just something that like I had to get used to. So we kept creating and layering, and then it came out like this, which is cool. It's called God's Dream. So this is a character called Paulo. Pretty much it was supposed to be a comic book where this one guy gets high in whatever kind of way he does, and then each time he forgets who he is and his name and his background. So it's just like a new experience each time. And each comic book was going to be an issue told only in his high moments. So it's just each time is a different trip, and each comic I was gonna have made by different artists.
Right.
So each time, you know, you have these basic characters, and then I have the story. I give you the story, you do the art, and then that was gonna be a thing.
Right.
I was going to do a comic series based off of this character, and he had looked completely different by the time I started. And then I ended up changing the design of him over and over again. Then I realized I wanted to do a cartoon. And then I ditched that idea and I wanted to do a video game because I knew a couple of programmers that I wanted to get that done. So yeah, we started working on a video game, and then while I was working on the video game I was like, damn, I want to make it an animation again. So now I'm working on ways to make it an animation, and I bounce around a lot. Yeah, so then I was going to bring it back into comic form. So yeah, it's a mess. He's like just a crazy project that I have going on. And then this was made literally like right before we set up this interview. Yeah, so I'm really hectic with the way I create and the way I think. And I don't know, this is just a representation of how I feel recently.
Well, let me ask you this. You mentioned a lot about social media.
Yeah.
What do you think about what social media does to the dimension of the artist?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I like that question. So I think in a lot of ways it can destroy you in like in a way. It's just it can destroy you because you feel like you have the pressure of being a celebrity, but you're not reaping the benefits of being one. That's a scary thing to me. That's like a problematic thing for me. It's just like when I create and I believe I'm on a stage, like I'm showing people the things that I can make or the things that I can say, or I'm making you think certain things. But the problem is you just don't receive much like
the real benefits.
Yeah, you don't read the benefit, like
shows.
Yeah, right after I'm still working construction, you know what I mean? Like right after I do this, I don't know, I'm still out here showing up to your events. You know what I mean? Like I'm still showing up to somebody else's thing. I do believe social media itself is a medium. I think that's a platform. I think that's like the most interesting thing to me as an artist. I feel like my Instagram is more an art piece than my actual pieces that I make. It's like a performance art. It's sometimes musical when you post things, you know, with audio in it. It's you can screenshot things, and that's reminiscent of like samples in a way, like, you know what I mean? There's something really cool about that aspect of it, and people get to see what you're doing when you're doing it, and you become, it's like a reality show almost. So I think that as a medium, I enjoy very much, and I'm glad that I'm a part of that. You know what I mean?
How would you say that music influences the way you work?
It's absolutely, I don't even want to sound corny, but it's everything to what it is, what I do visually. Like, I feel like I hear people out there hear colors. I hear that people say that. They're like, oh yeah, in A flat is this, or you know what I mean? Like, some people really like hear visually. I feel like I'm one of those people, but not like on a level like that, right?
Yeah,
specifically like,
oh my gosh,
like, yo, like,
he is blue.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not that kind of person, but when it comes to, I've done like album cover work. Like, I've done that so many times. Like, especially with Bobby Bryan. Like, we go back and forth, and just like we collaborate off things like that. Just like, oh, hear this beat that I did. Yo, look at the art piece that I did. Like, because of that, and we just play off of ideas. So yeah, I've gotten to the point where I listen to something, and just whatever it is, the beats, the lyrics, what's said, what's going on, how people are feeling, or like the character that they're giving me. Like, I feel like that translates into my artwork more than something visually that I see. I think Lowell's a great breeding ground for art. I think Lowell specifically, New Hampshire. New Hampshire, I haven't really like delved into the amount of things people have been making out there, because I just haven't been around. Like, I don't know, I only show up every once in a while. But in Lowell, there's a lot of places here where people are trying to create, you know what I mean? Like, trying to figure things out. So there's a lot of examples of it everywhere. But for me personally, I feel like other places in the world are more inspiring to me. I probably wouldn't be saying this, you know, living in those places, but I don't know. Over here, it's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to get inspiration. I like the fact that I was born in Brooklyn, and even though I haven't been there for like most of my life, I like that narrative that I have, that I can keep referring back to. I've always had like a romantic ass like mentality when it comes to New York. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's just where my heart is since I was born. So like, just that's, I don't know, my artwork has always been reminiscent of New York, or my, you know, I used to draw graffiti as a kid. Like, you know, like all that stuff is just, that's where my mind is. So when I think back to my cultural roots or anything like that, it's always like, you know, where hip hop started, or you know what I mean, or the stories my dad would tell me about his beginnings with rap and with graffiti, or with anything, you know what I mean. I'm a strong believer that anyone can do anything. Just like I believe that talent kind of doesn't exist in a way. Like a natural born talent doesn't exist. It probably does on a very minor level. Like, if you like drawing, then your body, you know, naturally will like to do this action, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be the best at what you're doing. It doesn't mean that that the person who is really great at what he's doing, it doesn't mean that the reason why he's really good at it is because he's born that way.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He put in his hours. And that's it with anything that you do. Alright, make sure to follow Artistic Warui. He's an amazing artist. I'll send you the correct spelling for everything. You throw it in the description.
Absolutely.
Yep. Let's see, Bryro, Bobby Bryan Jr. He's an amazing musician that I collaborate with all the time. I'm actually making a music video as well. Forgot to mention that as well. I'm making a music video for him. And yeah, check out my Instagram. It's Gandia, FROGANDIA. And that's where I post all of my stuff mainly. So yeah, I'm Ghandi, also known as Isaiah Gandia. This is Iru Magazine. Is that like what I do? I don't really know.